Thank you for joining me for what I eat in a day. I have lost almost 77 pounds and this is what I eat in a typical day. So let's get right into it today. I have a lot to do. So I'm going to start off this morning. I worked out this morning, so I really want to have some good protein. I'm actually going to have some eggs with some peppers and onions in it. And then I'm probably also going to have a yogurt with it. So I sprayed my pan with a little bit of cooking spray, and I'm going to use some bell pepper and onion. And this is just chopped up in my Vidalia onion chopper. I actually chopped up the whole onion so I would have some for the rest of the week. So we're just going to heat this up and add some eggs to it. I'm just going to give this a little stir. I ended up adding a teaspoon of margarine, just the country crock. And if you prefer to use butter, I use butter most of the time, but I bought this and I decided to use it. So we just want to get these cooked down a little bit. Add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And today I'm going to be having 3 eggs, and then I'm also going to be having an Oikos Triple 13 yogurt. These are really low in calories and they're high in protein. I believe they're only 90 calories and they're 15 grams of protein. I always put about a tablespoon of water in mine. Just kind of semi-poach it. It'll work out good. Kind of turn it down a little. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of hot sauce on my eggs. And these are kind of a soft poach. This is the way I like them. And I'm gonna put my peppers and onions right over the top. My breakfast is served. Well, that was a really delicious breakfast, but right now we're actually gonna do some meal prep for some things that we're gonna be having in the future. So last night, my husband brought home a rotisserie chicken from Costco. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that apart and prepare it for some other meals. I like to pre-measure everything. And then the second thing I'm gonna do, I've got enough chicken bones now. I'm gonna go ahead and make some chicken broth and probably can it later today. So whenever I'm cleaning a chicken, I usually, use gloves and all of this. It's just very messy and you can't beat it though. I'm gonna go ahead and just get a couple bowls and then show you how we're gonna start going through this chicken. Now I always like to keep this gelatin type material. This actually comes from the bones and it is very good when making broth. This is what comes out of the bone marrow that makes this. This is really, really good for you actually. Now I skim all the fat off of mine, but I do like to save all this when I'm making broth. So let me start with that so we don't lose it. So let's go ahead and start cleaning this chicken. And the first thing I'm gonna do is just pull the larger pieces of breast and things like that off. I never really keep the skin. If you keep the skin, you leave it on, but I don't particularly care for it. So I'm gonna put it aside and I'll go ahead and shred it after I get it all off the bones. This is a great money saver. I'm telling you, I love to have rotisserie chicken already shredded, measured out for different types of dishes because it really saves a ton. I can usually get sometimes 3 or 4 meals out of one chicken. And you can make chicken salads, you can do chicken tacos. I mean, you can do just about anything. And having it shredded ahead of time just saves you so much time and effort on the nights when you don't feel like cooking. I mean, you can always take shredded chicken out of your freezer and make something with it. So this is a hack that I do all the time, and I'm telling you, it's a money saver is what it is. So, and a time saver. It's a time saver and a money saver. Now I don't separate my dark meat from my white meat. I just use all of it because a lot of times this is for salads, casseroles, all kinds of things. All right, I'm all done. I've got my chicken in one bowl. I've got my skin and all of this. I'm just gonna actually throw that away. I've got my bones here in this bag, and I've got a small little container of this gelatin. So what we're gonna do now you could do this a couple of ways. You can just kind of spread this, shred it yourself, or you can actually run it through a food processor. I've done both. I think right now I'm just gonna shred it, and I just like it a little finer than these big chunks. Mainly when I'm doing casseroles, I just wanna measure this, take it out of the containers, and be able to use it. Now I'm actually gonna measure out 3 cups of chicken for each of my bags. Probably that would be better. All right, there's 1. 2. 3. And this is about 1.5 cups, so I will use this on a small casserole. The more air that you can get out in the beginning, the better this is going to last in the freezer. Now these will be used up in the next month or 2, so I'm not really concerned about it, but if you were going to keep them in there a while, I really wouldn't keep them longer than like 3 months. You don't want anything getting freezer burned. And so I just put them in the freezer right like that. When I'm ready to make a casserole, I take it out and I'm ready to go. Now, because I have 3 servings worth of chicken, I'm going to go ahead and use a larger pot. And there, that's what that looks like. And so I'm going to start adding water to this, and I'm going to be putting this gelatin-like material back in with the bones. So you want to make sure that all of your bones are completely submerged. And I'm going to move this over to the stove and bring it up to a boil, get it started cooking. Now, if you're not someone who cans regularly, I do, because I have a big garden, a lot of trees, that type of thing. So I do a lot of canning at my home. If you don't, you can still keep your broth in containers in the freezer. You can put it in Ziploc bags if you like. Now, you're going to have to make sure that, because it's liquid, that you could keep them standing up enough in your freezer so that they don't spill out for some reason. So I ended up having an Oikos protein shake for lunch. And tonight I am putting together a cheesy ground beef and cauliflower casserole. It's going to be very healthy, lots of yummy things in it, but definitely on our diet. It's going to be a good high protein meal, but it's also going to be very low carb and, really delicious. So I have some cauliflower I'm going to cook up in the my Sistema steamer in the microwave. So let's get the meat and bell peppers and onions going. So I'm going to start off by spraying my cast iron skillet, and we are going to get started with our ground beef. We're going to cook our ground beef, then we're going to add our onions and our bell peppers to that. This will cook up pretty fast. I had it completely thawed, and so it will cook very fast. I've got it on a medium-high setting. I'm going to add my bell peppers. All right, so while this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping my cauliflower to cook it up in the microwave. Now, I'm not going to cook it for the full 8 minutes. I'm going to have some of it that I'm going to finish cooking in the pan here. So I added some seasonings, some salt and pepper. I'm going to be adding 3 minced cloves of garlic. Now, we're we're going to be adding our cauliflower. And we're also going to be adding some sliced jalapeno peppers. So these are pickled jalapenos. Now I thought I had a can of diced tomatoes, but I don't know what happened. I don't have any. So instead I'm going to be adding some home canned pasta sauce. I'm just going to slice these up a little bit. Now, if you don't like jalapenos, you go ahead and leave these out. You never know how hot or mild they're going to be until you bite into one. I like them. I actually grow them every summer. So I'm going to be adding these to mine. We'll go ahead and add that. And we'll add our sauce. Like so. And give this a good stir. All right, now we're going to take 2 cups of a nice sharp cheddar cheese and we're going to put this right over the top of our dish. I prefer to grate my own cheese, but I just didn't this time, so we're adding some bagged sharp cheddar. Now, if you like extra sharp cheddar, you can add that as well. And there you go. I literally had 2 cups left. The exact amount I needed. All right, I'm going to go throw this under the broiler, clean up my mess, and I'll be back as soon as this is done. Well, our cheesy cauliflower bake is done, and boy, does it ever look and smell delicious. So I'm just going to spoon this up. Out a cup. All right, there we go. Doesn't that look delicious? This is my cheesy cauliflower bake. Oh, it looks so good. Look at that. That is gonna be super good. All right, let's go ahead and give you a try. I'm actually gonna be serving this with a little bit of sugar-free cherry jello. And let's just give our dinner a try. Look at that. Smells unbelievable. It's got all the flavors in it I love. Very cheesy. Oh, that is delicious. Can't wait to sit down. So thank you so much for joining me today for what I eat in a day. I'm going to have all the totals listed in the description below on everything that I ate today so that you know exactly what it was. I may have a snack later, and if I do, I will include it in the video. So thanks again for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring that bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.